Hello, I'm JUDEA. You're watching Expoz. It is March 15, 2017 at 11:00 p.m. in Birmingham. Topic, please bear with me. This is interesting and it'll give you some facts that a lot of people may or may not didn't know. And it's a blog about Roman empires. And to be more specific, where did the money come from? Well, you know, there was a lot of gold back in the Pharaoh days and after. And anyway, there was money, there was gold, there was silver, and there was a lot of slaves. The first Roman kingdom, and it was called kingdom because there were three. There were the Roman kingdom, there was the Roman Republic, and then the Roman Empire. It spanned 753 before Christ, BC, into 1015 or so AD after death. So let me tell you this little story that I've taken kind of close to me. And I'm going to do this short blog because it's of great interest to me and it's information that you probably would like to have. And how the pharaohs and then the Roman empires get built. And of course, we know by slaves. And along with slaves, it took funds. It took a lot of funds to build them. Well, here is that fund trail. And a lot of people don't know this. Rome was built in part, a major part, by stolen gold and silver. They had a certain amount of gold and silver that they probably took from the pharaohs. But you know, they go from Egypt and over to this portion, and Egypt finally is washed up, wasted away, and they were robbed by silver and gold many times after. But now we're talking about the Roman Empire. And a major part of their money were spoils of war that they stole. Gold and silver. At this stage, it was the general that raided and killed many Jews from Judea and took spoils of war. This occurred many times over hundreds or even thousands of years. Always the Jews. It's like they are the only ones that had the money, had the gold, had the silver. In 79 BC, before Common Era crap, 79 BC before Christ, it was Marcus Crassus, Crassus, who spent the most money in rebuilding Rome, a project that took many years and many billions of dollars. He had foes, but he had one that gave him a really tough time. And this one that gave him so much trouble, he was a Greek gladiator named Spartacus. Spartacus rebelled and escaped and took with him many thousands of slaves that became his army, and they followed him. But we know the story that Spartacus was defeated. It took more than one Greek general army to do so, not just this gentleman, this major, a general that did it. He had to have help. This Marcus guy had to have help. And but what they did after the battle, untold thousands died in the battle, but those who were captive after the war, after Spartacus, 6,000 of them, they took them and they took them all and they crucified them. and they lined them up along an 80-mile-long road and dared anyone to remove them. They remained there for years as a reminder for the future slaves. This is what will happen to you if you go against us. So that's a fact. It's a true fact. The biggest project ever planned and built, these guys are pure genius, amazing minds, were the Greeks. Bring water from hundreds of miles away for homes and for pools, bathhouses, sanitation even. They had sewer system, built bigger palaces and libraries, giant libraries, in government buildings 500 years before Christ, and would cost many billions of dollars. And they were Congress and they were Senate. We copy their Congress and Senate today. We have our Congress and Senate copied from the Roman era. And the same era is Spartacus and the slaves that went with him. Again, you had the 80-mile-long road, but let me tell you how many roads they did have. 52,816 miles of roads, along with rebuilding an empire that required hundreds of billions of dollars. This gold and silver, again, were mostly spoils of war. Whether this town or village or community or city knew anyone was coming, because they were under the jurisdiction of this portion of the Roman Empire. They were being protected by this portion of the Roman Empire. But this Marcus guy, he just had to be bigger than his predecessor. And he did. And he had to get the money, so he went to a place called Judea. Killed a lot of people, a lot of Jews, and took all their silver and gold. Of course, spoils of war. He took with him, again, more slaves. But it's amazing how much money the Jews accumulated each time that these attacks would occur. I don't say they would occur on a yearly basis, but every few years, thinking they're under protection because they're in that jurisdiction and they are paying taxes. But they managed to accumulate a lot of gold and silver. Look, when God picked the Jews as his chosen people, he also said to them, you will always prosper. And they still do. Story that's been close to my heart for a long time. I thought I would pass that along. And sadly, there will be one more event where there will be spoils of war. But there will be a little twist in it. God will send an angel. Angel will go down. And when the alarm is sound, it tells them, if you're on the house making repairs, don't even pick up your hammer. Don't go into the house. Jump off of the roof and flee. If you're in the field picking crops, drop what you have in your hands and flee. Keep in mind, in these last days that we're entering, you're going to have the Jews and the Palestinians living in a same area as they do today. Something is going to trigger the Palestinians. And on a dime, they're going to turn against the Jews and start killing them, even their next door neighbors. The Bible says 2/3 will be cut off. 1/3 will escape and be taken by angel and protected in Petra. 2/3 being cut off simply means they died. And my hopes and prayers is that they didn't die in vain, that they did not die to go to hell. I believe that 2/3 cut off. I also believe that 2/3 will be saved, just like the ones that were taken to Petra. I believe that in my heart. That is my prayer, always. That day's coming, but there'll be no time to take spoils of war, because as soon as the angel rounds up the Jews and carries them to Petra, then Christ is going to crack open the skies and ride down. And who's going to ride behind him? The church that went up 7 years prior, or however many years it was, because there's going to be a gap between the rapture of the church and the beginning of the tribulation. You see that in Revelations chapter 4, verse 1. And the next mention is the end of Revelation chapter 17 or 18. So, but between 4:1 and 6 is the end of the rapture. People are gone. And then chapter 6, the beginning of the 7 years. There is a gap between 4 and 6. No one knows how long that gap is, but I suspect it may be years. Anyway, I wanted to get that by to you and let you know that we're in those days. We're in Matthew 24:24. People are being deceived right and left, and it blows my mind for people to believe the lies they're believing today. But again, wide is the road to destruction, narrow is the path to salvation. Take that narrow, twisty road. Safer. Jody Wolf Expoz.